Hello, welcome to SquishiVision, where I'm about to react to Doctor Who Lux, the second episode in season 41 of Doctor Who. Oh, my video is unlisted. I should probably make it very much a public video. Nope, that's private. That's public. There we go. Hello, welcome to Doctor Who. Welcome to SquishiVision. We're reacting to Doctor Who. Oops, I've forgotten to mute all of my devices, so I'm going to do that right now. Alexa, volume 0. Alexa, volume 0. Cool. That was definitely an episode. I often have criticized, what you call him, Russell T Davis's recent stretch of Doctor Who as him consistently trying to be too clever for his own good. And I think this episode is very much kind of that, but out of all of his too clever for his own good, it's not the worst example of it. I mean, I don't know. A lot of it is, I feel like they played with concepts that they could have played with a bit better, which I say a lot about Russell T Davis's writing. He's very much become Moffatized in that respect. But it wasn't like he didn't go so far as to break anything in my eyes, if that kind of makes sense. I guess. So the big thing we should probably talk about is the whole Doctor Who's a fictional TV show aspect of the episode, which was like everyone's kind of been like worrying on Twitter for a long time that they were going to do something with. Although I think a lot of people were kind of speculating that this would be like how the series was going to end on. No, like not the entire show, but like how this particular series, how this particular season was going to end on. Hello, Ashley. And it turns out actually what it was just a tiny bit in. Why is this thing not showing the entire message? There we go. The chat box a bit bigger. Hello, Tuba. Said hi. Not coming through for some reason. Anyway, where was I speaking before I got distracted with my OBS layout? Yeah, people were like worrying that there was going to be this big kind of reveal that Doctor Who was in a TV show the entire time, or at least for a large period of time. And that was going to be like a big reveal at the end of this series, but actually it was a relatively not minor, I guess, but it was a part of this episode, and I think dealt with and moved on. And I guess this is probably like the best, well, maybe not the best way they could have done it, but not the worst way. It was fairly like an okay way. I mean, it was a predictable way. Am I telling a story? No, I'm reacting to the latest episode of Doctor Who that just broadcast 4 hours ago, but I just woke up 2 hours ago. This where we're reacting to the second episode of the 41st season of Doctor Who. And the how they dealt with the whole breaking the fourth wall aspect. I don't know. It feels the pacing. I think it was the pacing of this episode that threw me. I don't think the pacing of this episode was as capturing as it could have been, and so it felt like we're moving through a whole variety of different elements. I tell you what it was actually that threw me. We didn't deal enough with Lux, with Mr. Ringaling or whatever his Dingalong or whatever his name was. Can't remember because we didn't deal with him that long. Maybe that's like a budget thing. Maybe they just couldn't have him on screen for that long. I didn't feel like there was this amount of like connection between the Doctor and this episode's villain for me to really feel the conflict. That I think was perhaps my biggest turn off. So we move through like different concepts. We move through the concept of Doctor and Belinda being trapped in a 2D animated universe, which was very much over with as soon as... I mean, I will say, the visuals were very kind of spot on, you know, in terms of the 2D animation, the progression from 2D Doctor and Belinda to 3D Doctor and Belinda, the whole like using shading to make them look 3D is very much something that was kind of experimented on. I don't think it ever really has art style caught on, because I've never seen anyone trying to replicate it, but it seemed like a thing I think I recall happening in a kind of intermediary. The way we see the initial 3D version of Lux very much was like early 2000s, early like late 1900s 3D computer animation, very kind of Toy Story-ish, very kind of early Pixar experimentation of animation style. So that was fun. But like, I don't know, part of me is like, I wish we stuck in the 2D part for longer and perhaps had more of a back and forth between the Doctor and Belinda and Lux. Also, I don't know how I feel about us recurring the whole like describing a numerous number of villains as being members of the Pantheon. Like, I don't know, like Maestro being a member of the Pantheon worked. I liked that. I enjoyed that. I think that kind of worked for what they were going for. Here, I'm like, are you just like... Here it feels like it was added on after the fact. And I feel like if you took that away from it, like, making the Maestro the child of a toy maker, not necessarily even like the same level of the Pantheon as the rest, but like, toy maker. The child of a toy maker worked as a kind of second episode villain. I was fine with that, and it added a sense of like threat that the episodes adequately played off of in Devil's Cord. That helped kind of set an appropriate vibe for the episode. Here, if they didn't even mention that Lux was one of the Pantheon, it wouldn't have taken anything away, and making Lux a member of the Pantheon didn't add anything to the episode. I didn't feel an extra level of threat. In fact, if anything, the expectation of the extra level of threat that Lux didn't really ever kind of capitalize on, for me, took away more than it gave. Especially because they built up the whole don't make me laugh, and it's like, oh, is there gonna be something clever here, but why you shouldn't make him laugh? Like, normally Doctor Who, when it does, you know, when it makes phrases, when it repeats its phrases, when it does that whole thing where it's like, I'm gonna like repeat a phrase until you realize something, it's clever, like hooting out the lights and etc, etc. Whereas here it was just throwing in that twist of, oh well, actually, and why does the giggle apply to all of the Pantheon? Like, he's like, oh, don't make me laugh, because if you make me laugh, I'll go ha 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 ha. But like, that was very much a toy maker thing. That wasn't like, I guess the Maestro kind of made that noise as well. Sutek, I don't think did, but implying that Lux is the same level of threat as a toy maker and Sutek, and even the Maestro, who was particularly threatening, just took more away from the episode than it gave, I think, in my opinion, because they weren't. I mean, Sutek was not done very well in Empire of Death, but they were done well in their first appearance, so they still have that credit from that. I just don't feel like it was necessary. I like the whole reveal of the laughing was like, oh, is that it? Like, meh. Also, why is the deity of light evil? Like, I can understand why the deity of like games might be, you know, some of the deity of death would be, and the Maestro I mean, music maybe not, but the maestro is the child of the toy maker, and songs and games have a relationship, so I can understand that aspect of it. This, it just seemed like you just threw it in for no reason, kind of thing, and I didn't really fully like gel with that aspect. But yeah, so they were in that 2D animation thing, but like classes, and there was I think there was too much of this episode actually spent on just the Doctor and Belinda being stuck in the film, but like not really doing much. I mean, it was an excuse for them to kind of be open emotionally with each other, but again, not in a way which seemed massively satisfactory. I did like the twist actually, about not a twist, but the kind of aesthetic of, because they're two-dimensional characters, they have to be acting two-dimensional. I think that was done very well. It wasn't, again, I might have wanted to see more of that. And then the bit about, okay, and then eventually we got to the point where they're like, we can't just speed up the film, we've got to like break out of the film. Which was kind of like, it sounds clever, but as long as you don't think about it too much. They push out the screen and we get the whole thing about the Doctor realizing that they're a fictional character. And just to jump to the end, we do the thing which I guess is what I would do, where they twist on its head. It's like, actually no. The fact that you're a TV show is a fake reality made by Lux to trap you inside this world. The fans aren't real. You're the real one. You've got to go back to your reality now. Like that, I guess, kind of makes sense in the whole twisting of reality. I guess that's why they made Lux as... Actually, I guess that works in favor of Lux being member of the Pantheon, because their whole thing is about twisting reality. Can we get a Trickster back? Trickster was a Russell T Davies originated villain, so you'd think he'd be able to write him well if he came back, but yeah, the whole, I have to wonder what some of the writers of Doctor Who think about their fans, because, but also I guess if that was me, the Doctor came through TV, that's probably how I would react, especially if I was like the target audience of Doctor Who, which was me 20 years ago. I would probably feel very giddy over that more so than I am now. I think I'm more jaded now, and that's a me problem, not a show problem. I'm trying to remember now, because I think the whole speculation about the Doctor being stuck in a TV show has been something for a while, and the fact that one of the characters is like, oh no, I knew this was going to happen because it was leaked online. I have to wonder if maybe some members of the production crew actually deliberately were told to leak it online, like start the rumors going, so that it would then play in this episode. But it's actually kind of nice, clever bit of meta show running that I actually can appreciate. I don't know if that ever happened, because I don't know if it was ever actually leaked or speculated. I don't think it was ever leaked. I think it was speculated on. I think that's I think it's very possible that maybe they tried to leak it by starting the rumors, but no one actually ever confirmed it as a leak. It only ever stuck as a speculation, which is still close enough. I think it was done okay. I think maybe they could have done more with it, and now that they've done it, they can't go back to it. But honestly, it's like, out of everything that I've seen Russell T Davies like squander the potential of, I don't care massively over the whole the Doctor is actually a fictional character plot line, so I don't think I'm actually too bothered, and I think it was actually done fairly okay-ish in the large scheme of things. He kept going on about, oh, we've already realised how this episode's going to end. I mean, honestly, they could have gone a bit more disrespectful with how they showed Doctor Who fans. It could have been a bit more respectful. I never got that sense of, look, like, there's been parts of Doctor Who which have kind of like invoked a sense of fandom. I'm thinking about Last of the Time Lords, where the Doctor kind of like becomes this messiah figure, or you know, in the Wedding of Song, where they talk about how the Doctor is actually loved by a lot of the universe, and I like to think that that's a deliberate kind of commentary on the fandom of Doctor Who. And in those episodes, I feel a sense of like, yes, I am one of those people who loves this character, and therefore if I was part of this universe, I would probably feel the same way, and I feel seen and respected and like praised for that. And here I didn't feel that sense of like awe, or like, you know, like Doctor Who, regardless of what you think of it as a show right now, has succeeded for as long as it has, because it's been very, very good at its message storytelling, and it's kind of it's a very inspiring show in terms of like fiction, in terms of like how you be better as a person. And I would have liked to have seen that more celebrated, because whenever, I mean, we can't do this again. That's a bottle open now. You can't go back and play around with the idea of Doctor being a TV show, because we've already done it and put a nail on the head on that, which is fine. I would have liked to have seen more of that kind of aspect of it. The Doctor returns back into the show. Oh yeah, and the whole thing about, oh yeah, we saw the ending, like how we beat the villain a mile away. Now, I mean, was it foreshadowed? Did I miss something? I'm not normally one to miss things. Like, I mean, the reveal was that they drowned the Lux in light. I don't know if that was really properly foreshadowed for it to be obvious. Like, I missed it, and at the risk of hubris, if I missed it, it probably wasn't obvious, because I do catch things very well. You know, but also that was like basically the ending of Tooth and Claw. Even the line, exactly the same line, and I think Russell T Davies knew that. I think, did he write Tooth and Claw? No, I think that's someone else. Back when, you know, you didn't need a showrunner to write your second episode, it was only the first episode. But it was deliberately like the same line. But I mean, yeah, I guess it's a way to end the episode. I think they approached the whole segregation element of the setting well. It wasn't like distractingly obvious and didn't like undermine a huge amount of the episode's kind of like flow, but it came up in the right amount of times. I mean, it was mentioned a few times in the beginning, maybe one too many times, but fine. It wasn't like obvious, and then came up again in the theater as a kind of a point of tension, which I think was the right time to do it. And then kind of, you know, like, I think that's how you do it. I think they did it well. Like, Russell T Davies has been kind of doing a lot of this allyship where it's become too obvious, become a bit too kind of like not like have to be subtle, or not like they shouldn't be like throwing in our faces, because they absolutely should. But the way Russell T Davies does it isn't doing it any kind of favors. So yeah, those are my kind of like first initial thoughts on this episode. I enjoyed last week's much better than this one, but this one was kind of just alright. I didn't hate it. There's been a few trailers dropped, and I guess while I have my setup set up, I should probably do a reaction video to that. So we'll get that up and running. And then I need to go and do a bunch of chores. So we're going to go do that. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all, well, in a bit. Next week I'm at Empire. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to watch this next episode of Doctor Who, because I've been afield all weekend. Probably Sunday evening. So I guess we'll see you then. Alright. Get out of my house. Where's my get out of my house phone? Bye.